Alrighty. GM. Welcome, everyone. CraigO podcast, and we're doing our official stream. We're going to do it bi-weekly, but right now, I've got my favorite co-host sitting next to me virtually. Vic, GM, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. Now, we're live on X and also YouTube. We've
Yeah.
got pretty much 4 topics that we're going to discuss, but outside of that, we might climb into some other areas as well. Rocking a little
Mhm.
peasy. I'm kind of feeling like the memes are going to make their way back. I don't know. Maybe I should have reversed my face on the other side and put the other part, the peasy in front. I'm definitely no big ego here at all. But I do
Mhm.
want to cover a bunch of different things. And I labeled today's stream culture, trust, and momentum. And what does it take for that to happen? So I wanted to start it off there. And GM to Satoshi fam in here. I've got a nice little Satoshi bag, an incredible meme. But Vic, when you make of that, you go culture, trust, and momentum, when you think in this space, what does that mean to you, those 3 words?
Okay. For me, culture, this space is pretty much like, most time people are just caring more about the money, trying to make money quickly. Me, I believe in, trying to build something long term and, building a community and then trying to hold things together, building the culture, the vibes, and not just trying to make, a quick bag and just, get out. So for me, I believe in long term compared to, short wins and stuff like that.
I agree. And I heard another content creator who's known in the space, really well respected, DB Crypto. And he said something that at least it relates back to him. The biggest danger to
Yeah.
crypto, it isn't regulation, it's culture, it's greed, it's a weak infrastructure that can all erode the trust from within. And I'm looking forward to covering a little bit about NBA Top Shot because it's one of the favorite collections that captivated my imagination when you combine real world utility of being at a game and having connection to these moments. We'll talk a little bit about their case. I actually went through GPT and actually one of my favorites, Monera.ai. And it gave me some really good insight on that. But to the core of that message, I think that is a problem. We think about the internal collapse, right? Not external regulation is destroying the credibility. And we're already in what we call an on-risk asset. In this space, you're betting on crypto. And then if you go to stake, you're going further down that rabbit hole. And, behind me, actually, I ordered the Flex and I also have the Ledger Nano X. And last year at this time, and I had shared with you, I had 4 of my wallets drained because I had all my hot wallets on my main browser. And I'm like, as long as I don't click on anything, I'm okay. Unfortunately, I ingested some malware somewhere along the line. And about 30 days after that malware, it just happened and all of my stuff drained. And ever since then, whatever assets you have should be protected. Your seed should be offline. And if you're going to play in a hybrid wallet, there are a couple of them that we might talk about, which is Xportal from MVX, which is part of EGLD. That's the token eGold or EGLD. Yep. And then we also have Flow, their Flow blockchain and their wallet, which is absolutely phenomenal. We'll talk a little bit about them today. For you, how important is security protocol in an on-risk environment such as crypto?
Okay, so me currently, I do not have like a cold wallet or something, but I do have Exporter, which they are guardian. Even if someone has your key phrase, your crypto is not going anywhere, stuff like that. So, like, Exporter for me is one of my favorite wallets. That's the one I personally use if I really want to like be really secure with my, my crypto. But apart from that, I don't really have a cold wallet yet. But I'm looking at Tangem because Tangem they have a great UI, by the way. So Tangem is one of the cold wallets I'm currently looking at. So I'll hopefully get Tangem soon.
And it's
So I've got
affordable. And it's probably the most user-friendly wallet that I've ever interacted with. And so you have what they call cold wallets that do nothing other than store your stuff, send and receive. That's it. Then you have a cold wallet where you can swap within the app and change in between coins, or different blockchains. Want to be super careful, but I like the fact that you're leaning towards that. And X Portal does have the Guardian 2FA. You also look at the Flow blockchain with their Flow wallet. They are EVM compatible, coming off of Cadence. Their wallet is very easy to use, very user-friendly in that regard. And we were going to talk a little bit about that today. So I wanted to dive a little bit on to NBA Top Shot. And just to wrap up the last little part around security, if Web3 is all about freedom and ownership, the culture must change before it's too late. And so if you're in this space and you're getting onto some memes, and they're definitely in this stream that we're doing right now, there's one token right now that I think is really important. And I would say that it's more of a utility token than it is meme related, but it is related to that of a blue chip. And I think where that could go is to the moon. I think it could go. And by the way, full disclosure, I'm not getting any token from them allocation, no token allocation. And even better yet, I don't have the token, but I remember when it was 8 cents, it went up as high as 25 cents. And then somebody sold a bag clip. But what this token is doing and what it represents is pretty phenomenal. So stay in tuned in this space because I will be sharing that. And by the way, welcome to all 51 people who are in the stream. So it's great to have you in here. But I want to talk a little bit about NBA Chop Shot. Now, Vic, I'm going to ask you, what we don't know, we don't know. And in the coming weeks, we're actually going to have a developer from the Flow blockchain come in and talk to us about Cadence, about EVM, and about the trilemma. And trilemma, for those out there that don't know, trilemma is security, speed, and full-on decentralization. Those three things are really important and things that we want to educate ourselves on, and a good user experience. All right. So all that to be said, Vic, what do you know about NBA Top Shot?
Okay, so personally, I just feel like it's the way I see it is, those incredible moments in the NBA that are being captured and then is being like minted, and people kind of like have a piece of that as their own. Because when we worked on one of their videos, that was what I really like, see it was all about. But recently, I was seeing some news that they kind of broke their minting rules, and I was kind of wondering what exactly was going on. So I wanted to even ask you the question, if you could throw more light on that. What exactly happened?
Yeah, so funny enough, I actually had to dive in. So early on in 2021, I bought a whole bunch of NBA Top Shots using the Dapper wallet. For me, I didn't have the greatest experience with figuring it all out. I was still very new at that point, didn't know enough of the right people to ask the right questions. But NBA Top Shot is one of those where it's on OpenSea. I believe that came in April of this year, where it went live on OpenSea with the Flow wallet. Very easy to purchase. I actually go onto a centralized exchange. I purchased the Flow token. I then send it over to Cadence in the Flow wallet, which is really important because if you send it to the wrong spot, that's a problem. So make sure, and GPT is pretty good with giving you some direction, but then just go in main chat or channels and just ask questions. Don't answer any calls. Be very careful on TG. I don't want you clicking on any crazy links. So I have about over 100 moments. And part of that is related because I'm playing in store.flow. Store.flow.com. I believe I have flow.store.com. I think I have that correct. But I'm playing in the store to earn the rewards, so we can actually accumulate real RWAs. And in the store, they have some incredible items. And after this space, I will actually post some of the links that are notable to today's episode, which will be about 45 minutes. I want it short enough where people are coming in, they're grabbing some value. So speaking of NBA Top Shot, let's just talk about a couple specific things. So I own about over 100 moments. The rookie moments are really important, but you want to find the moments that reflect you. Is it a favorite team? But I think over time, it's cheap enough right now, and it had such of a, I want to say most NFTs pulled back by over 95%. Some of the blue chips are a fraction of where they were to where they are now. So it's a really good idea just to go into OpenSea and just look at trending collections, because that to me is a very user-friendly hub. I've also been in Magic Eden. That's another marketplace. Maybe at some point we'll have them on. But NBA Top Shot was a digital collectible platform developed by Dapper Labs in partnership with the NBA and the NBA Players Association. And they're offering officially licensed NBA highlight moments as NFTs as moments. They're called moments. And so one of the things that for me, each moment represents a specific NBA highlight. dunks, game wins, varying rarity levels, right? We talk about unique rarity and traits within a 10K collection or a 2K collection. That to me is really cool. And then there are varying levels, which you've got common, rare, legendary, ultimate tiers. So in that, just learn about what the rarities are and where your particular price point is, and be super careful. I've sometimes gone off my financial reservation and have played with money that I shouldn't have. And so now, being the second bull run around, practicing that JOMO, the joy of missing out, has been far greater than FOMOing in after the fact. When you can learn about things early on, that's really important. And I just want people to at least take in that part. Non-custodial wallet support. So since March of 2022, collectors can transfer moments approved flow wallets like, and I haven't played with any of these, Blotco Bay, Virusis, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And they can have greater control over their, I just keep it right in my Flow wallet. And I make sure that anything I'm going to connect onto, that I've verified links. That's really important, especially in wallets that aren't what we call fully cold. I actually asked the team, and I'll be curious to see if I'm correct on it, but it's a hybrid wallet between a hot and a cold, because you can break off your private key into Google Drive. So that way only you can recover it. But I think the ultimate way to ever recover anything is actually to have your seed phrase written down and stored somewhere safe, whether in your property or outside. So just something for people to think about, and always test those seed phrases, because if you write it down and you are off by one word or one letter, guess what? You're not getting into your wallet. And I think that's more of a newbie thing. We take it for granted having multiple wallets to play around with. So to me, that's important. And also, back to your thing on Tangem, and then I'll come back to NBA Top Shot. Tangem allows the option to go seedless. So you'll have these 2 or 3 digital cards or credit cards. You tap them to the back of the phone. Super easy. Tangem, Tangem. I highly recommend you guys go out. Do I have an affiliate link? Sure. I don't care to post it. I'm not looking to make money off of them. Just go check it out. Order the cards. You can program them yourself. A little bit different with Ledger, whether it's the Flex or it is the Nano X. You want to make sure that you order specifically from Ledger. Don't order off of any third-party site, because those can be instilled with malware. And in a minute, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your tech department and the bi-weekly tip that your tech department, Samuel Disraeli, gave to us, who's the owner over there, who's my tech guy, making sure that my devices are secure at all times. Okay, all that to be said, you actually have in Japan, through partnership with 24 Karat, they allowed purchases of NBA Top Shot to happen, ready for this, via vending machines, Vic. I mean, that's pretty cool. I guess the question that I have is, you connect it to a wallet. It's sort of like the cool claw pull from Beezy, right? You have either the Web 2 version, and you can basically do sort of this gambling of RWAs, but to actually go to a physical, real vending machine, and I would assume with a QR code, be able to secure those assets. So long as you can safely self-custody that, that's cool. Because there are too many scams going on out there, too many people clicking onto bad links, phishing links. You and I think, talked about this yesterday. Someone clicked on a phishing link and was on Ethereum. And then again, this is one of the things to security protocols, and having a revoke.cash, being able to revoke old contracts is so incredibly important. So I'm just putting that out there, is that this individual didn't revoke a contract from over 600 days ago and lost over $70,000. I don't know about you, Vic, and I don't cry often, but man, it would be a river at my house. So what are your thoughts on these like vending machines where you can buy these digital asset moments that I believe NBA Top Shot long-term, I think, is a really good play. And I try to stay away from the short-term, too speculative, too volatile. And I don't have the emotional capacity, or as they call it, the diamond nuts, to actually hang in there. What are your thoughts around vending machines as it's related to NBA Top Shot?
Yeah, personally, I would say like that would be a very easy way for you to, get your hands on the NBA Top Shot and, get those moments for yourself. And it's really a good one. If that can literally be everywhere, that would be amazing because you don't have to, go online, do some, trying to figure it out, just, get it through the vending machine. So that would be like amazing. I really love the idea of vending machines to purchase your
Now, I do want to
NBA
talk a
Top.
little bit about legal clarity. And by the way, for this is not financial advice in the stream. And I am not an attorney, neither is Vic. So don't look to us for legal advice. We can't help you there. But in 2024, Dapper Labs successfully settled a class action lawsuit, with the courts confirming that NBA Top Shot moments are not securities under U.S. federal law, providing regulatory certainty. I'm going to say clarity was more the key word from my end. When we look at utility beyond collecting, and we're just talking in specific of these NBA Top Shot moments, I see the potential future utility with the NBA ecosystem positioning them as consumable digital goods rather than a pure investment vehicle. So to have that access means that you'll be able to get into that event. We talk about utility in that regard, in these real world experiences, being able to have access or have VIP tickets because you own a certain particular moment. Now's the time. So if you're a fan of the NBA, check out the Flow wallet. Just go into the App Store, make sure that you're downloading the correct one. Do your own due diligence. Again, a lot of this happens on X, and a lot of my learning early days from 2020 when COVID was around was actually hopping into YouTube and actually listening to streamers talk about different things and going, okay, how do I learn about this? So Flow Wallet, incredibly important. Yes, the Black Mama's in the channel, culture, trust, and momentum in Web3. That is what it's all about. So Top Shot broke its own minting rules. And this comes back to the very beginning that you were talking about, Vic, confirming critics' concerns about mistrust. There's not a lack of mistrust in this space by any means. The team's response: burns, rewards, public acknowledgement. It is a good start. And there are definitely a couple alpha leaders in the pack that I turn to as far as what particular moments to purchase. But I do believe that long term, this will be a bullish play over the next 10 to 15 years. I'm not looking for next month or the month after. If I play that game, what happened last year would happen again, because you get too confident, your ego takes over, and you forget all the good hygiene of how to practice with the good wallet hygiene, how to actually have it in your custody, care, and control. And that's really important, Vic. So I just want to wrap up this and see if there's any additional comments that you have around NBA Top Shot. But in crypto, trust is the ultimate utility. And if we're not building that here, Vic, what are we doing? We do short clips. I've interviewed some of the top people in the Web3 space, which if you're tuning in right now, 156 people on YouTube, go look at some of the past videos. Last person that I interviewed was the CEO and president, I believe president of MVX Multiverse X, Mr. Benjamin Minku. That was a great conversation. I've also done some work in the past year for CoinZoom, which is a great centralized exchange. Big shout out to them. But Vic, any wrap-up thoughts around NBA Top Shot? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I would say personally, I will be looking to get some moments because I actually enjoy watching the NBA. So it's something I personally enjoy. So if I can get that digitally and own a piece of those moments, that would be an amazing one for me. So I'll be looking to get into the NBA Top Shot project.
Good. You know what, Vic? When you for every I'm going to actually do this. I'm actually going to send you 2 moments. So once you're all set up, you're going to send me your address. I'm going to make sure that I send it over safely to you, but I'll have 2 moments in your wallet. I actually want to grab some more anyways. So why not? Now's a good excuse. You've given me an excuse to be a little bit of a fun-loving NFT degen. By the way, you know what NFT stands for, right?
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot, Vic.
Non-fungible token. Yeah,
man, he's got it. Means it cannot be fractionalized. And I think it's important because from the outside, everybody hears NFT. And what's the difference between an NFT and a crypto? Cryptos can be fractionalized. And I think just having a base layer of knowledge for everyone is important. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I figured you knew as much. So let's talk about the Flow blockchain. Now, I did a little bit of research, but I'm going to save some of it for the 20th, as I believe we're going to have one of the head developers from the Flow ecosystem coming on. But really excited at what they're doing. And as I mentioned before, we are, and I'm just looking to make sure that I have it right. I think it's store.flow.com. And just want to make sure that people can check it out. But in real time, Vic, they can participate by earning keys and boxes by actually staking in more markets. And I want people to check out the Flow ecosystem. You go in there, you can, play around a little bit, but Kitty Punch is actually the main DEX hub from what I'm understanding. And again, any corrections, if I'm wrong on something, people will correct me afterwards. I'll come on and say, hey, there was this small correction, but Kitty Punch is the main DEX. And with that, I actually, my froth token grew by a certain number of X's. And I'm always careful. I'll be like, I 30X and 40X. That's not what this space is about. Like, I want people to make money and have fun, but I also want them to take positions in things that they believe in. And I believe that Flow is doing some really cool things with EVM. As they developed EVM coming off of their Cadence model, which is their blockchain. So, and again, when we have the dev, I want to kind of dive into some of the technicals, make sure that I'm using the right terminology in that regard. But what I did is I actually switched Froth into Fivix, which is the token of Kitty Punch. And there are definitely going to be some cool rewards. I staked my Fivix. I unstaked the Froth. But it was really cool to see the gamification aspect one in store.flow.com. I believe I have that right, or it's the reverse, store.flow.com. And I was able to stake the Fivix. So I'm earning more keys. I'm earning more boxes. I've got a number of points lined up. So if you're in there, you know how many points I have. I'm not in the top 10, but I'm definitely in the top 50. And it's definitely a little competition between myself and a few others. And it's a fun competition. But it's really cool to read about the certain companies on X that they're associated with. And so what would happen is in one of the contests, a simple one that's free, is you would click on to one of their partners, and then you could claim a certain amount of keys or boxes just for taking that action. You would have to retweet, you would have to comment, you'd have to give some level of engagement. But they're really gamifying and bringing real RWAs. And so for me, I've had a lot of fun with it. And I know, Vic, because you've done a lot of the short clip videos around Flow and some of the things. We did a keys video. We did a boxes video. I think I even did a Flow video as well. And we'll be doing some more with them. So I'm really excited about that. But what were your thoughts?
Yeah, personally, I would say, are these incentives we're getting, are they long-term? So that's a question I want to ask. So if you could throw more light on this, I would appreciate that. Yeah.
Yep. So the keys and boxes are not on the blockchain and the points are not on the blockchain. But what they do is for participation of staking tokens, for playing, say, with BZ, staking in more markets, my USDF, which is my USDF Flow, staking there, staking my wrapped Flow. I'm earning APY, which is great. And I'm also earning boxes. Now, with staking the Fivix, I'm now going to earn more keys, and that's going to really balance things out. So I'm really excited about what that has in store. But no pun intended, but when people go on to store.flow.com, they're going to get to see how it all works. They're going to want to get a Flow wallet. They're going to want to connect to a centralized exchange. They're going to want to safely send over Flow. And then they're going to want to play in the gamification aspect. They're going to want to make sure that if they don't have a Flow wallet, that they set it up correctly, that they make sure that they've stored their seed phrase somewhere safe, that they understand how the sharding works. They're going to get in the DMs and ask questions. They're going to go into the spaces. That's what I love about Twitter spaces. I love a few things. I still call it Twitter. I love the spaces that are just wild and off the hook, and it's sort of the Wild West. And then I love the spaces where I say it's fill my cup, where I'm learning and I'm implementing strategy. I believe in Flow for a few different reasons. One is they're tapped in on the gaming side of things, and gaming and Web3 are perfectly aligned, just like AI and blockchain is. That's one. Yeah. Two is they have a great reputation, and they have some of the most powerful people in the world in this space within the Flow core team. So for me, I'm bullish on that particular token. I believe right now it's around 38 cents. No, I'm not telling you to go out and buy it. You can get it on Coinbase if you so choose, and then you can self-custody it in one of your wallets. Just make sure that it receives it before you send it over. But for me, I think what Flow is doing long-term is something that is sort of a 15 to 20-year horizon. So hopefully that explained it a little bit to you, but the gamification, the RWAs, more markets to stake your USDF and to also stake your W flow, along with the BZ claw, which is sort of what it is. What it is. It's what I call, and we did a video on this. It's the claw. You press the button, and basically it goes down and claw in the machine virtually. It picks up an item. And mostly they've got a lot of Pokemon in there, which is, by the way, Pokemon is a huge collectible. I'd love to do an episode just on the RWA outside of blockchain and Web3 on the RWAs of Pokemon when people look at vehicles for savings, because we know our dollar here in the US, and I think people agree, is completely decimated, Vic. So when I look at RWAs, you can also put Pokemon in there if it's graded correctly. But in the platform, they have the RWA, and then I can burn that item and have it mailed to my house, Vic. So Beezy.io is part of the Flow ecosystem. They have a partnership or a collaboration, and again, maybe we'll have on. Oh, it looks like my mic was adjusting, but we'll have hopefully Beezy on at some point, and we can kind of understand how all these parts are interoperable, but how they all come together so seamlessly for a full user experience.
Okay, that's great.
Good. And you created the video around BZ. What are your thoughts? Because you've done a lot. We've probably, and tell me if I'm wrong, Vic, at this point, because we've gone out a little bit on Instagram, a little bit on TikTok, and then I do want to have your tech moment in just a second. I didn't want to drop the ball on that. But as an editor, what is probably one of the most memorable videos? And right now, I know you're working on Wilder World, but what's one of the most memorable videos that you've worked on from our end? Is it a meme? Is it a platform? What is it?
Personally, I would say it's a meme, and that meme will be Landwolf.
Oh!
For me, the community was like amazing. The memes, everything was just like crazy. I really, really enjoyed working with that project. And yeah, honestly, that was one of the best from.
Big shout out to PZ, which is part of the Boys Club, and of course Landwolf. I love that. I love the wolf. I love what that community has done over time. I hope to see more spaces out and more content, but they're actively posting. I'm in those chats, and so it's just nice to kind of keep up with it. But I believe when Pepe, which is the beta of Ethereum, takes off as meme central, that we're going to see not only Pepe Rocket, get the word out, Pepe, but also Landwolf. And we're also going to see Brett, Base Brett. And then I also like Brett or Bet, you call it what you will. Of course, Andy and Peasy and some of the other Boys Club characters. And a big shout out to a lot of the great guys in the space who have really engaged and helped me in my content journey. So that's been phenomenal. You know, you as an editor, when you're taking on projects, and then I do want to talk a little bit about your tech department for a second, the ones that keep me safe and secure. As an editor, how do you line out who you're working with and what you're working on?
Okay, personally, I prefer to work long term. This way I can easily track metrics, because I also care about my own personal branding, because I need to have case studies, I need to have testimonials, building the relationship with clients and not just trying to have these one-off gigs. So I focus more on long-term gigs, let's say 3 months, 6 months at least. This way we can track things and make sure that we are actually helping each other out grow our brand. So that's basically how I work as an editor.
I love it. And I wasn't shaking my head at you behind the scenes. We've got a little operator back there saying, don't mention me. Well, I'm going to, Sam, because you keep me safe. So late in September, LinkedIn announced that it will start using user-posted content to train AI. We know that AI is coming. There's just no denying it. You can't get away from it. It's everywhere. It's at the grocery store. It's with your insurance agent, and everybody tells you with your financial advisor. We take a holistic approach. I'd like to think AI is involved somehow in that. So on November 3rd, 2025, they will start using some of the data from members in regions to train content-generated AI models that enhance the user's experience and better serve the community. That sounds great, right? But these regions are the European Union, the EU, the European Economic Area, the EEA, Switzerland, Canada, and Hong Kong. So if you want to opt out, which I always think is kind of great, is go to the profile menu, select settings, data privacy, and then make sure that, let's see, that the data for generative AI is unchecked. And quite frankly, I don't know. They could use my data. I don't really care. But There must be a reason that we got this memo on the desk. So if you guys are curious and want to level up your security protocol, check out your tech department. I'll actually have Sam right now, if he doesn't mind, just posting a link in there. You can reach out to him for a free consultation. And so that way you can make sure that your computer doesn't have any malware and that you're doing the right security protocol. I talked to him a lot about Web3 security, cold wallets, hot wallets, to a nauseum that at this point, I think he'd be pretty familiar with a Web3 person. As soon as he starts talking to them, he'll be hit with the GMGM, Vic, if you know what I mean. So Web3 turns participation into ownership, but the true test is sustainability, which is where, again, I feel like Flow has me extremely excited for what the future has in store from big gaming companies, along with their huge partnership with NBA, Top Shot, and much, much more. There are definitely some really big companies out there. I think we have Cryptoys, who I had actually interviewed, Will Reinrob, who is the CEO, I believe. He actually, I think they're on the Flow blockchain as well. So there's some big people out there. So I mentioned at the beginning that I was going to talk about a token that I think is utility, but it's blue chip NFT based, and that is none other than PNKSTR. Drew Austin had talked about it. I spotted it at probably around 8-9 cents. Drew, I'm assuming maybe spotted it a little bit before then. It went up to about a high of 25 to, I believe, 30 cents over this past weekend. But it's directly correlated and connected with the CryptoPunks, which CryptoPunks are the OG of all OG collections. If you have a CryptoPunk, you are a bad mamma jamma. So here's a couple little things to know about it. And it relates to this word I like the flywheel. And so here's how it might catch some synergy. So in one of these tweets, we found that, you create self-reinforcing pricing systems, an automated flywheel of value that sustains itself through algorithmic behavior. The punk strategy uses programmed buys and relists to climb the price ladder. When CryptoPunks hit 53 ETH, the system becomes self-perpetuating. Each new purchase extends the chain upward, maintaining a continuous demand. This reveals how NFT treasuries can engineer scarcity and control floor prices. So, couple things just to kind of throw it out to you. When markets start feeding on their own momentum, this is the question. Isn't this worth something to look into? And so, again, I don't hold any of this token. Nobody from the team is going to give me any. I don't believe so. I wouldn't say no to it. But that being said, I think this token is going to go well past where it is right now. How many X's? Your guess is as good as mine, Vic. But it's an Ethereum-based token. It's directly connected to the CryptoPunks, and basically for every punk they buy, they then will sell that one on the floor for 20% more, from what I understand. Again, can be corrected on that one, but I love how a token is directly connected to an NFT asset. And right now, the NFT meta is not here. So there are certain NFTs that you can go look at the retrace of price, whether in fiat or in the cryptocurrency, whether it's Ethereum or Solana, whichever pond you're going to play in. And I would highly just go and look at and find things, communities. Are they active on X? Is there lots of content being created all the time? Those are things that really matter. Any thoughts on CryptoPunks and what they're doing with their strategy, Vic?
Okay, currently I've been seeing a lot of tweets from them currently, so that's really great to see. And I'm seeing like the whole CryptoPunks, the coin is like going crazy, and it's just crazy. But I'm not buying. I've not gotten any yet, so I'm still doing my research, checking the community, seeing how engaged, seeing the culture of the community and everything. So that's me on CryptoPunks.
I love it. I mean, we just covered really a bunch of great topics. I remember I just sent you everything and I was like, Vic, what do you think about all these topics? I love memes. I love NFTs. I love what this space can do. If you're going to come play in the arena, know how to protect your bags, be kind and respectful to other people. I think that to me is the most important thing. Come on here, share what we know. What we don't know, we share that as well. You're a top-rated editor. You make me look good. We're always going over, we have in the studio when we're going over curated content that's scripted. We're making sure that we're getting that information and we're working directly with these companies, to make sure that we have that messaging going out in a way that resonates with their overall mission. And that's about it. I think, right now we're at 3:05. We've been on since 2:30, and we've had a lot of really good engagement on this end of things. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I want to share. First off, I want to say thanks to 200 plus people who are in on the YouTube. I didn't massage an algorithm today. I want to come to you guys as I am and see how we can grow and build on that momentum. But most importantly, I want to see that people are here getting involved in the projects and the communities and things that they believe in. I was challenged the other night in a space. Someone had said that there's no such thing as community. It's number go up. And I think for some that is correct. But I want to see everybody who's here in the space who consistently show up, doing their spaces, doing their short clips, doing their interviews, doing their editing, keeping me secure. I want everybody to win who's plugged in right now. And if you have a DeFi wallet, you are miles ahead of many others. Again, I think we talked about a hot token. You guys can go in and look, back at my past feeds and see the things that I have consistently talked about. As we mentioned, the Boys Club meta is powerful. Matt Fury, who's the artist, a hand behind Pepe. As Ethereum will send and do well, I believe that a lot of the memes will do well. And we say, just to finish that part up on the back of that, it's not financial advice. Vic, any last words from you before we end this stream? I want it to be quick, easy, to the point. We talked about NBA Top Shot. We talked about Flow. We talked about PNKSTR, which is the utility token connected to that of Punks. Anything from your end?
Okay, so Bitcoin made a new all-time high at 125K as at yesterday. So what are you currently looking at with Bitcoin? Is there any projections you're looking at? Are you looking at 150K, 200K, let's say before the year runs out? So what are you currently looking at?
Look, I'm known for interviewing, known for creating great content, building on that dialogue. I am not the TA guy. That being said, a lot of the chatter has been between 150 and 200 before we'll possibly see an altcoin season. Someone had sent in a space the other night that it could go to 60. I'm like, oh, that would be insane. But I think we're far past that point. But hey, why get in the way of something that creates a conversation for sure? I don't know. I think Bitcoin's important to have. It is the digital gold. It actually started off as the first meme token. Laszlo Hania, who you actually edited this video, bought not 10,000 pizzas, but 2 large pizzas, pepperoni pizzas, by the way, I believe, for 10,000 Bitcoin. I don't know about depression and anxiety, but if I had a look at Bitcoin price and hear it on CSNBC and all these other major news outlets and from other podcasters and content creators, I might need a therapist full time. And the only sad part of that is I couldn't afford it because I would have spent it all on 2 pizzas. I mean, talk about the most expensive pizza in the world. It would represent that, but it's also the historical significance in this space. And we did that video, I want to say earlier in the year. And that was a really fun one to read. And Laszlo, from what I remember when I read a little bit about his bio, he's got a pretty good attitude about it, but I would assume that he was probably one of the largest single-handed holders. And let's make sure that over 21 million tokens will ever be produced through the halving that happens each 4 years. I think the final halving happens about 100 years from now. That's the last point. I'm going to hold on that one. I want to do a little bit of a teaser, but there is one token that mimics, and it's an AI blockchain infrastructure token that I've been taking position into. And you might know what it is, Vic. Don't say it out loud. We won't talk about it on this one, but maybe in a couple weeks, I might mention that when we have, hopefully, one of the head developers from Flow. But I asked a question within one of the AI models, because the conversation around EVM and some of the challenges that it has, and DB Crypto, who I have a high level of respect for, speaks very heavily against some of what Ethereum and the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, is doing and its security protocols. And I high level respect for him. But I asked the key difference between Flow and MVX. So it said, and again, I want to dive down into this and understand some of the tech. It says that Flow solves a trilemma by specializing node rules. It avoids state fragmentation, focuses on developer simplicity, and predictable execution. That's a mouthful. And so I want to simplify that when we had the head dev on here. Now, MVX solves the trilemma by adaptive sharding, splits and redistributes network load across many shards, maximizing parallelization. I hope I got that right. My God, that's a word. But the bigger point is, how does your average person who's not technical, it's like saying, Craig, I like PCs. And then the person goes, well, I like Macs, or I like this computer, and this is why, and your computer is inferior. Well, to your average person, or even someone like myself who has a level of experience here, how do you get a developer mind to actually break down the complexities? And so I want to try to draw in on this question, and that's where I want to leave today's stream on. And I appreciate everybody for joining. And Vic, when it comes to editing and long-term relationships, I'm so happy to be building alongside of you and have you in that co-host seat, so we get to promote what you're doing, share what it is that I'm doing and we're doing together. I appreciate you all, and thanks. Big shout out to your tech department for being behind the scenes and helping us to successfully get this stream off the ground on both X and YouTube. I'll see you guys soon.